Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to be doing a Q&A. For those of you who are subscribed to my channel and have seen my more recent videos, you know that I just recently moved out into my own apartment all by myself, and a bunch of people had some questions and requested that I do a Q&A and just talk about how I moved out on my own, saving up money, how much everything costs, and just a little backstory for those of you who don't know, because it'll just help kind of make some of these questions make more sense. I'm a licensed cosmetologist and I work part-time in a salon doing hair and then part-time doing YouTube. So I make an income from both. And being a cosmetologist was actually my second career. So after high school, I moved away, I went to college, got my degree, got a job, was moved out of my parents' house, was like on my own, doing my own thing. And then when I was 24, I decided to change careers, quit my job, moved back home with my parents, went to beauty school and was like kind of starting fresh. So I just turned 28 a week and a half ago, so I'm finally at a point now where I am back on my feet, fully 100% financially independent. And even though I've lived in apartments before, this is I think like my 5th or 6th apartment. I've never lived completely on my own. I've always either lived with a boyfriend or had roommates or something like that. So this place is all me, 100%. So someone asked, what's the best thing about your apartment and the worst thing? And then someone else asked, what room are you most excited to see come together as you get everything unpacked? So if you guys haven't seen my empty apartment tour and my moving and unpacking vlog, I will link it down in the description if you're interested, just so you can kind of like, you know, see what the place looks like. But I don't know, the best thing, there's so many good things about this place. I love all of the natural light that I have. I love how spacious it is. I love how much closet and like storage space I have. And I think what I really love the most is that I can't hear my neighbors at all. Oh yeah, and I realized that I forgot to say what the worst thing or my least favorite thing about the apartment is, and that's just probably the fact that I don't have a washer and dryer in here. But I mean, it's not the end of the world. I luckily am not far from my parents' house, so I just bring my laundry over there whenever I need to do it. But it would definitely be a lot more convenient to be able to just do it here. And the room that I'm most excited about is probably the living room, which I'm in right now. I just love the way that this room came together. It's exactly how I envisioned it. I love how it's decorated. It just feels so open and bright and airy, but like really cozy and lived in at the same time. And I just can't wait to share with you guys the full tour and show you all my furniture and my decor and where I got everything. Someone else asked, what's one thing you wished you knew before moving? I don't know. I feel like because I've moved so many times, because after I graduated high school, right, I moved away to college, and then every single year in college, I moved into a different place. So I dormed my first year in just like, you know, a college dorm. Then my second year I was in like an apartment, but it was university housing sort of. And then my third year I was in a house with roommates, and my fourth year I was in an apartment with just one other roommate. And then I moved back home after I graduated, and then I finally moved out again with my boyfriend at the time. So this is my 6th time moving out, not including like all the times that I moved back home. So I feel like I am very familiar with the moving process and just like the whole apartment hunting process and all that stuff. So there wasn't anything this time around that was any different or that like caught me off guard. But I have to say that living by myself, like not having anyone else here with me, is amazing. And I was really excited and looking forward to it. But I definitely thought that it would take me a little bit of time to adjust, especially like sleeping alone at night. But no, I love it so much. Like I feel so comfortable and just good. How did you find your apartment? I think it was last November that I started just kind of like looking just out of curiosity to see like what was out there and like what is available in my area, what's like the price range, because I was like starting to get to a point where I was like almost ready financially to move out. So I had downloaded the Trulia and the Zillow app, and I was mainly just looking on there. I also looked a little bit on Craigslist, which is like kind of sketchy, and apartments.com, but Trulia and Zillow were like the main places that I was looking. And you can set like how many bedrooms you're looking for, how many bathrooms, your price range. I mean, you can get like pretty specific on those. And so I had all of my settings saved on both of those, and I had it set to just notify me anytime like a new place became available. So basically from November until June, I just kept checking both of those apps and was just looking for places, and I just wasn't finding anything that was the right fit. And like the few handful of places that I did come across that I was interested in going to look at, I'd reach out and then nobody would get back to me. Or by the time they would, the place was unavailable. Somebody had taken it already. Especially the area that I live in. It's a smaller town. There's a lot of just like really old buildings and houses here. And a lot of the places that I was seeing were not renovated. They didn't look like they had been maintained for a very long time, which was a little like sketchy to me. And the price that they were asking for, in my opinion, just wasn't worth what the space was. Either it was just like really dumpy looking or just way too small. So anyway, I kept looking on there, wasn't finding anything, and I got really frustrated. And one day I decided to just post on Instagram on my stories, hey, if anybody lives in my area and knows of any places that are available for rent soon, like please let me know. And a few people replied to my post, but one of them is my friend, and she said that her and her mom are the property managers of this building, and that there is an apartment there that is going to be available for rent in a few weeks. I believe the landlord was planning on just putting this place up on Airbnb after the last tenant moved out, so it wasn't listed on any of the apps that I had, and the price was just perfect. It was at the bottom of my budget, and yeah, everything just fell into place and it was perfect, and it just really felt like fate. So Truly and Zillow are really great apps, so I definitely suggest downloading them, but also just reach out and kind of like put the word out there that you're looking for a place, because not every landlord is going to be posting their properties on websites like that. Does renting in the past make a difference in finding an apartment? I'm looking to get an apartment, but I've never leased an apartment before, but I have an excellent credit score. Just wondering what the application process is like. So it totally depends where you live. It depends on the particular apartment itself. If the place is just owned by one single landlord and is being rented out by that person, or if it's run by like a property management company. I've lived in pretty much every scenario. From my experience, renting from the property management companies is a little bit more serious, or a little bit more strict and more in-depth, and they require a lot more information. I remember that they needed like pay stubs, they needed like proof of employment and proof of your salary, because they need to make sure that your rent is like less than a certain percentage of your overall monthly income. I know that some people talk about needing references from like previous landlords and just having like proof that you have been a tenant in the past and you're a good tenant. I've never experienced that or ever been required to provide that before. I think the main things that landlords and property management companies are looking for is a good credit score, proof of income. Really the main thing they care about is that you're going to be able to afford to live there and keep paying rent to them. So not having any renting experience isn't going to be a problem. As long as you have a good credit score, you should be good to go. I hope that it isn't too personal, but what is the price range for an apartment like that? Something like that would easily be $2,000 here in Sacramento. So my rent here is $800 a month, which is like amazing, truly. And keep in mind, okay, I live in Pennsylvania. I'm in a pretty small town. So of course rent here is gonna be less than what it would be in like New York City or LA or something. But even still, even for this area, $800 is like an amazing price, because like I said, I had been looking for months and I wasn't really finding anything that was like under $1,000 a month that wasn't like really gross looking, you know? And especially nothing like this big and spacious and with this much closet space. How much do you recommend saving to buy all the odds and ends when you first move out? Furniture, utensils, plates, decor, etc. And then someone else said, how much does it cost to buy a whole apartment's worth of furniture all at once? So it totally depends. I decided for myself that I wanted to wait to move out until I was at a point where I could just buy everything at once, and that I wasn't having to live on like a super, super tight budget. You don't have to do that, obviously. Like, you don't have to buy all of your furniture as soon as you move in. You can wait and kind of save up and just buy things as you go along. I want to say I probably spent around $5,000 on everything. All of my furniture, every little like kitchen appliance, my dishes, decor, everything. Like everything that is in this apartment right now that I bought, which I feel like, considering how much stuff I have, which again you guys will see in the apartment tour, isn't too bad. I try to be really smart with my money. All the stuff that I got here is either from IKEA, Wayfair, Walmart, Target, like all really just affordable stuff. And every single thing that I bought in this apartment, I shopped around for. And because I was moving in the middle of quarantine, I couldn't really like go out to stores. So 97% of the stuff in here I bought online. So everything that I went to purchase, even down to like my dish drying rack, I would open up like multiple tabs on my computer and I would search amongst a whole bunch of different stores and just see like what place had the best price for what I was looking for without getting like terrible shitty quality, you know? Like I wanted the place to feel cozy and feel nice and be like decent quality things, but at the same time I know that this obviously isn't my forever home. I only have a 1-year lease and I don't know if I'm gonna renew my lease, so I don't know how long I'm gonna be here for. So I wanna get stuff that's gonna be good enough to last me at least like 5 years or so, but it doesn't have to be like, you know, super crazy expensive, high quality. And considering when I moved in here, all that I like already owned is this little bookshelf thing that I use as my pantry, my mattress, because my bed frame broke, if you guys saw the moving vlog, but pretty much everything else I bought brand new because I just like didn't have any of this stuff. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of like how much it can cost to furnish an entire apartment, but how much you choose to save up for all that stuff is totally up to you, because like I said, you don't have to buy everything all at once. You can just start with like the absolute bare necessities, like the stuff you need in the kitchen to cook with and like a bed, you know, and then work up from there. How much ballpark range did you save up? My biggest issue in trying to move out is figuring out how much to save. And then somebody else asked any budgeting tips for moving, for example, any big unexpected costs. So when you're moving out and gonna be renting a place, you are gonna have a lot more expenses up front when you're first moving in than you're going to each month for the rest of the year that you're there, or you know, however long your lease is. Because before you move in, most landlords require that you pay first month's rent up front, a security deposit, and then sometimes they even require last month's rent as well, all up front. And the security deposit, that is basically just like some extra insurance money that they hold on to so that once you move out, in case you like leave the place totally destroyed and a bunch of repairs need to be made, then they'll keep that deposit and use that money to fix up the place and repair damages that you left behind. But if not, if when you move out, you leave it in the exact same condition as when you moved in, then they will return that security deposit to you. And that can be anywhere from like the equivalent to 1 month's rent to 2 months rent. It really just kind of depends. So going into it, I already knew, okay, so whatever my rent is gonna be, I'm gonna need to pay like at least 3 times that amount up front when I first move in, not including what I'm gonna have to pay to furnish the place. So I would say as you're saving up and kind of preparing and trying to figure out when is gonna be the right time and when you'll be ready financially to move out, go on Trulia and Zillow, like I mentioned earlier, and just look at places in the area that you're looking to move to, and just so you can get an idea of like how much does the rent on average cost in that area, so that you can get an idea of like the approximate range of how much you're gonna need up front. Then you also have to take into account what are the rest of your monthly expenses gonna be, because you have your rent, obviously that's one thing, but that's not all you're gonna have to pay for. You're gonna have to pay for your utilities as well. And some places will include certain utilities in your rent. Some places won't include any. So you may have to pay for your sewer bill, your water bill, your trash bill, if the place has gas, electric, internet, phone, cable, whatever it is that you have. So take those into consideration as well, and also groceries, gas for your car payment, your car insurance, your cell phone bill, like all of the necessary things that you have to pay every single month. So add those up and then add it to the cost of the rent, and that's how much you are gonna have to pay every single month just to survive. You should make at least double that number every month. Is it hard to keep a balance between cost of living / student loans without any help from your boyfriend? How much time would you consider needed when diving into a new career / new place in order to be stable? So I do have a boyfriend. He is not living with me here. A lot of people are like, why did your boyfriend move in? I just wanted to experience at least a year living completely by myself. It's just something that I felt was important and that I wanted to do and accomplish. So he's here all the time, but yeah, he does not live with me. We are not sharing any expenses. And I do have student loans still. They're almost paid off, but I did go to college and then I went to beauty school. So I have 2 tuitions that I have been paying off. That's why it took me such a long time to finally move out. So I moved back home with my parents at the beginning of 2017, and that's when I started beauty school. It took me like about a year to complete school. So that first year when I was in school full time, so I wasn't really able to work that much, was barely making any money, you know. Then the first 9 to 10 months, I was barely making any money at all again, like working on building up my clientele. And I was able to furlough my loans, which was good, so I didn't have to worry about paying any of them in the very beginning when I was like just out of beauty school. And then my second year in the salon, I had really built up a good clientele. I was like pretty much fully booked, and my YouTube channel also started doing really well at the same time. So I was not making like a really crazy amount of money, but I was making a pretty decent amount, and I was getting to a point where I could support myself. But rather than moving out right away, I waited a little bit so that I could really pay off my loans as much as possible. So any money that I would have otherwise spent on rent and furniture and like other, you know, living expenses, I put all towards my loans. And any extra money that I would make from YouTube, like if I ever did a sponsorship or, you know, anything like that, it just went straight to my loans. And I was making pretty big payments at a time, because the thing is with student loans, if you are paying just like the minimum amount each month, it is accruing so much interest that majority of that money that you're paying is just going towards the interest. So I wanted to just make really big payments and try to just knock those loans out. And that was another thing too that I took into consideration when looking at like how much my monthly living expenses are gonna be. Most likely I'm not gonna be paying the same amount towards my loans as I was when I was living with my parents, because now obviously like I have more bills, but I still want to be paying more than the minimum amount so that again I can like knock them down and not have to worry about interest as much. So yeah, I don't have a hard time balancing everything. I just factor my loans in with everything else, and I consider those like a necessary, I have to pay it kind of thing. And then any extra money that I have, because especially like with what I do, my income is not always the same every single month. So some months I make more money. So if I ever get extra, then that can go towards my loans. How have you planned for finances? I know there's a rule where a percentage of your income is supposed to be rent, but I'm having trouble sticking to that in my personal life. That's the thing keeping me from moving out, being stressed about money. What I started doing ever since I graduated beauty school pretty much, because in the past, I never did this. Like I had one bank account, that's where everything went in and where everything came out, and that was it. Like that was all the money that I had to my name. And what I do now is I have multiple bank accounts. So I have my main account, and any kind of bills and like necessary expenses will come out of that, like rent, my internet bill, etc. Then I have a savings account that I do not touch. I just let it sit there and just gain interest. Then I have like my fun account. So any tips that I get from the salon, I put in that account, because I look at tips as a gift. It's just something extra. So anything fun that I want to do, if I want to save up to go on a vacation, if I want to just like go out for drinks with my friends, if I want to go get Botox, get my nails done, that all comes out of that account. You know, the stuff that's not necessary, just things that I want to do for enjoyment. If I want to like go on a shopping spree or something like that. And I really try to just be conscious of the money that I'm making, how much is going into my accounts, and then how much I'm taking out. And I like to have that separate account for like the fun stuff, because I don't have to really worry about that. And even if I drain it, which I never do, but even if I did, it's no big deal. Then I just have to like hold off on doing like fun things until that account fills up with more tip money. And at the same time, I know that my other accounts are more under control. I'm taking them more seriously. And I also don't have anything set to auto pay. The only things that will automatically come out of my bank account is my Netflix. That way, like I said, I'm in full control of how much money is coming out, and I am aware at all times how much money I have, how much money I'm spending, how much is going in, etc. So yeah, that really helps me a lot. And even if you aren't in an industry where you're making tips, you can just do that with your paycheck. Like even if you just make a regular salary and it's the same amount every single month, as soon as you get that paycheck, immediately take a percentage of it and set it aside for your fun account, and then set another percentage aside for your savings that you do not touch, and then the rest of it can stay in your account to be used for your like important bills and whatnot. And you know, the percentage that you are setting aside for all of those different accounts is up to you. It depends, like what are your spending habits? How much are you making? How much does your rent and all of those things cost? So just sit down and kind of like calculate all of that, add everything up, see where you're at. Because if you just have everything in one account and every time you go out shopping or you go out to eat, you're just like swiping your card away and you're not really like keeping track, you can really just end up overspending and it's gonna be like impossible to save up. So yeah, do that, split things up into multiple accounts, and I think it'll just make it a lot easier for you to save and keep control of your finances. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sending in your questions. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you're interested in following me along on this journey and seeing more of my experiences moving and living on my own for the very first time, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. And like I said, I will have that first empty apartment tour and my moving vlog linked down in the description if you didn't already see that. And stay tuned for my finished apartment tour. I'm very excited. It's pretty much done at this point. So within the next couple of days, I'm gonna film that. So yeah, stay tuned and I will see you in the next video. Bye.